Master Duel is a ranked ladder format, so I'm sure you guys are well aware. So normally I wouldn't advise you to run specific cards to target specific matchups, as it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Let's say you come across the same deck 30% of the time. Let's say it's a machine deck. Running a tech card that counters a machine card specifically isn't really that valuable, because the other 70% of your games, you're just going to have a card that you draw that does absolutely nothing. So I don't really like running specific tech cards for specific matchups in a format that's just filled with variety. But in this case, I'm gonna have to make an exception. So I don't really know what's going on in the rest of the ranks in the game, but at least for me up in Diamond, the meta's kind of turned into SWORDSOUL Simulator. 15 out of my last 20 games were against the exact same deck. SWORDSOUL. Now normally, like I said, I don't like teching against specific matchups, but when the format is literally filled with 75% of the exact same deck, I don't blame you for running specific tech cards, especially if they're tech cards as powerful as the one I'm about to show you against that specific deck. What if I told you guys there was an SR rarity card in this game that upon activation is a complete auto win versus SWORDSOUL? They basically have to concede as soon as they see this card summoned straight to the board. And the best part about it? It's a hand trap. Meaning you can use this card during your opponent's turn whenever they try to play the game and simply just say, no. But first, before we actually get into the actual card, this is the first time I've done one of these tech card spotlight videos for Master Duel, so if you guys do enjoy this kind of content, find it useful, or just want to see more content like this, make sure to let me know by leaving a like on today's video and considering subscribing to the channel down below. The more people that do so, lets know you guys actually really enjoy this kind of content, I want to see more content like this, and therefore I'll make more content like this. Also, I'm like 2k subs away from the 70k milestone, so I'd really appreciate hitting that sometime soon. Alright, so the card is called Token Collector. This card is an SR rarity card that if a token is special summoned except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, if it was there when the token was special summoned, or your hand, even if not. You can only use this effect of Token Collector once per turn. If this card is special summoned, destroy as many tokens on the field as possible, and if you do, this card gains 400 attack for each token destroyed. Neither player can special summon tokens. So basically, if your opponent ever decides to special summon a token to the board, no matter whose turn it is, you can special summon this card straight from your hand, nuke that token out of existence, and then force your opponent to not be able to summon any more of them unless they remove this collector, which is actually a fairly hard thing to do considering this thing has 2000 defense. So for example, we're against a SWORDSOUL matchup, which is why you're running this card. They have cards like Mo Yi, they have cards like Tyre, they have cards like Strategist, all of which are aiming to special summon a token so then go into their synchro plays. They won't be able to do any of that, because as soon as they summon their token with their effect, you activate your Token Collector from hand, instantly destroying their tokens, and since all these cards are once per turn, they can't be used again, and all of which actually have fairly low stat lines. They have 1800 attack, this one has 1700, this one only has 1200 attack. So all of these cards, you try to summon them, they try to summon their tokens, you remove the token, they can't synchro summon, and they can't even remove the collector afterwards, so they have no follow-up at all. This card is a complete decimation against SWORDSOUL decks. So let's take a look at what cards are typically run in a SWORDSOUL deck, and let's see what cards can actually out this Token Collector. So generally cards like Imperm don't really do a whole lot unless Imperm was already set beforehand, because it destroys the tokens on the board, it doesn't destroy the card that summoned the token. So if your opponent summons a Tyre, it will just destroy the token, leave the Tyre, and this card can't be used from hand anymore. Blackout would have to have been already on the board. Effect Veiler does nothing because it has to be used during your opponent's main phase. Cold by the Grave does nothing. This does nothing. They have Protoss, that's technically an out if they can get enough resources in Graveyard. The only actual card in this deck list that's a decent out to Token Collector is generally Vishuda. But keep in mind, even if they do get hold of the Vishuda to remove the Token Collector from the field, if they don't get rid of it, first of all, they just lose the game instantly. But if they even do somehow manage to remove the Token Collector, the damage is generally already done. Their end board is already going to be significantly weakened because it activates once your opponent's already summoned the token and then already destroys the token. It isn't just to stop your opponent summoning tokens, it destroys them in the first place. So if you activate your once per turn effects of Mo Yi, your once per turn effects of your strategist, or your once per turn effects of your tire, you're not going to be able to use them for the rest of the turn, and you're already going to have lost that token. So this card is exceptionally good versus this deck. Another thing I just want to quickly mention is, like I said, the 2000 defense. Let's count the cards in the main deck that have over 2000 attack. No, 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 no. Spoiler alert, there's only one of them, and that's the Protoss. And also, keep in mind this deck does like to summon Halki Fibrax, and then go into your Aurora, I don't know how to pronounce this card, but they go into this Mecha Phantom Beast, which likes to summon tokens. Once again, you have a great counter to this card. Sadly, this card actually does have more attack than your token collector, so I can beat over it. But the point is, they've already been basically completely crippled on what end board they were going for, because you just completely stopped them in their tracks. Now, as much as I like to hype this card up, I do have to quickly mention the painfully obvious downside to running this card. And that is, of course, if you're not against SWORDSOUL, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Just trying to look at the token generation currently in the top tiers of the game, there just really isn't any. The only other deck other than SWORDSOUL that summons tokens kind of regularly is Prank Kids. As far as I know, none of the other decks in here at all summon tokens. Meaning if you draw this card, it's just a brick. It does absolutely nothing. So like I said at the start of this video, I don't know what's going on in the rest of the ranks, as I don't really keep tabs on them, obviously. So this is something you have to decide for yourself. If in your rank in particular you're finding a lot of SWORDSOUL, feel free to craft this card, feel free to give it a go. SWORDSOUL is likely to stick around for a while, but keep in mind, if you're not coming across a lot of SWORDSOUL decks, you're just crafting a brick for your deck. So if you're not like me, and you're not against just complete SWORDSOUL just everywhere, don't craft this card. But if you are in that kind of situation, it's a very good card to craft. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, this is the first time I've done one of these sort of spotlight tech card things for Master Duel, so if you did enjoy this kind of content and want to see more of it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like on today's video and subscribing to the channel down below. The more people that do this, the more it lets me know you guys actually want to see this content, and therefore I'll make more of this content. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm only like 2,000 subs off 70k, so I'd really like to hit that milestone soon. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.